Nearly 7,000 poker players began the main event. 6,200 will go home with nothing.
See how they're stripping me of all my possessions.
The ones remaining will reach the money. As day 4 continues, something is about to burst. The money bubble.
Welcome to the game. I got a good cushion. We're going in on the bubble. I feel like I can maybe abuse my table a little bit.
It seems like once the bubble bursts, people just go flying out the door.
Find out who cashes and who crashes tonight. Back to Las Vegas for the World Series of Poker main event presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Tonight we hit one of the biggest checkpoints along the main event trail, the money bubble. 25K heads-up champ Jay Cody is surviving.
If he makes the money line, the Brit can afford to get a haircut.
Daniel Negreanu needs a double up and fast.
I believe Kid Poker, if necessary, could talk his way into the money.
Jean-Robert Ballade hopes a little coffee will perk up his stack.
He should look in his coffee cup. Maybe he'll find more chips in there.
Daryl Jace is where everyone wants to be in the lead.
Yes, but it's getting cold in here.
Jay's one of 3 players over $1 million. He's joined by Patrick Poirier and Stefan Albertini. At our feature table, one of the shorter stacks in the room, 11-time bracelet winner Phil Hellmuth.
Hey, my poker brat knows how to play a short stack.
Phil's got a newfound foil here in 38-year-old pro Martin Deknafe.
Deknafe is from Sweden. That's a part of the world Phil does not like.
Deknafe leads this featured table, but is well off the overall lead. Hellmuth has just 13 big blinds, which is the kind of stack that should see action very soon.
But Phil will protect those big blinds like they're the last chips on earth.
I'm half Greek, half German, so I need to bring some money to Greece for the economy.
Don't bring the money there, it's just going to disappear.
Deknafe seems well-versed in global economic situations. All right, action is on Patrick Devlin, an amateur out of Canada.
He's a real estate agent.
King, Queen of Spades, and a raise to 8,500. Jared Zito, a 24-year-old carpenter with pocket tens.
Now that's real work, Lon.
And he announces re-raise, 19,500.
We need to bust about 60 more players to hit the money. It's a wonderful feeling to cash in the main event.
693 will get paid. Hellmuth folds ace-queen from the big blind.
With a 3-bet in front of him, he will not even consider the ace-queen.
So back to Devlin now, and he makes the call for 11,000 more, and we'll go heads up with Zito.
The realtor versus the carpenter. It's the main event.
Here's the flop. 8-6 queen. Devlin leads now with top pair, and he checks it.
Zito will test the waters.
Zito with chips in hand. That's 18,500. And Devlin raises all in for 45,000.
Now, Phil Hellmuth would have flopped top pair, top kicker if he had played, and now it would be his decision for most of his chips. He generally hates that.
Hindsight is 20/20.
Call.
And Jared Zito will make the call to put Devlin at risk, and he will not be happy to see what Devlin turns over.
Dang it all. I mean, I have ace-queen.
Devlin says his claim to fame would be to bust Phil Hellmuth. If he survives here, maybe he'll get his chance later.
Devlin in good shape to survive, but still at risk. Tray of clubs means Devlin is still good.
Zito looking for a river 10 to bust Devlin.
Running pretty good, king-queen. I had ace-queen.
Phil had ace-queen, Lon.
Yeah, disappointed about it. The 6 on the river will double up Devlin to almost 140,000.
Devlin now sitting on 35 big blinds. Zito now a short stack.
Yeah, he lost more than half his stack in that hand. And Phil bemoaning a missed opportunity.
So sick.
The pressure is certainly mounting inside the Amazon room as the bubble looms large. Even seasoned pros like Phil Hellmuth place an emphasis on cashing in the main event. So Norman, with his short stack and rising blinds, is Mr. Hellmuth in trouble?
Sure, he's in trouble, but if I had to pick one guy to nurse a short stack, fold when others would raise, give spelling lessons, fend off Northern Europeans, dodge bullets, aggravate tablemates, and make it to the next day of the main event, it would be Phil Hellmuth. All he needs is a chip and a chair he can throw. Go get him, champ!
He was champ in waiting, runner-up 3 times at this World Series, but a lot of makeup work to do here in the main event for Phil. On the button with Jack 10 off, he limps in for 4,000. Martin Ross in the small blind with 5 tray of spades.
His brother paid for his main event seat. He's pretty much a poker novice.
This 43-year-old German amateur raises to 14,000. And Helmuth will make the call.
The Brat with about 1/3 of his stack in there now. And Phil Hellmuth against the world now focuses on Germany.
The flop 499. That missed both. Ross.
Looks like he might splash around a little.
Yeah, has chips in hand. Takes a stab. 8,000.
All in.
And Phil raises all in.
Boy, Phil living on the edge. I never expect him to make that move for all of his chips, no matter what read he's got on the other guy. Ross, of course, can't call with 5 high.
And he does fold, and Helmuth takes another pot.
This is how we do it.
Oh, really? That's unfortunate for all of us. Yeah, you know, and Ross can't believe he flew all the way in from Frankfurt to watch the Brat sing and sway.
Helmuth no longer the short stack at this feature table.
Starting to pick some hands up. That's a good sign.
Yeah, Phil will need to do a lot of that. He wins that pot, but still way behind the tournament leaders and also well behind the average stack of almost 275,000. Daniel Ritalik has joined the Millionaires Club, but it's Jace and Poirier who have been fixtures near the top. There is Patrick Poirier at our secondary table. He had 1 World Series cash this year for $6,700. Ace King of Spades on the Jack Link's beef jerky hole cam.
I am unofficially in his corner, but the man from Tupper Lake unofficially will not listen to anything I say.
A raise to 8,500. Toffel lays down over to the Belgian amateur with pocket sixes, Fried Mulders.
The secondary table is heavy on shades. The late afternoon sun hits this part of the Amazon room hardest.
Mulders calls Johan Zowie, a French amateur with pocket queens.
Some playable hands here.
Over lightweight boxer, now a real estate agent. Says re-raise. He makes it 35,500.
I don't think Poirier will just flat call and risk seeing a 3-way flop. He'd like to get to heads up or end it here with a 4-bet.
His suited ace king. And he does have a big stack of orange chips. He does 4-bet it to 108,500.
And Mulders will say, I make love, not war.
He does fold. Now Zowie with the queens.
Come on in.
And he shoves.
We'll call.
Poirier calls to put Zowie at risk. Zowie ahead with the queens.
I can't argue with Poirier calling there. It's about a quarter of his stack. I wish he'd thought about it just a little longer.
These two are racing for almost 650,000 in chips. And here's the flop. 4 deuce tray. Poirier with a wheel draw. Zowie's queen still ahead.
Zowie, a regular at the Aviation Club in Paris. This is his first main event.
Turn card. And an ace for Poirier. Zowie is crushed. That also puts a wheel draw on the board for a chop.
Zowie might be shaking his head all the way to the airport. He's down to his last card now.
River card now is a queen. Yes. Zowie spikes the 2-outer for the win.
Poirier absorbs the blow stoically.
Wow. Nice hand.
Boy, he didn't even use his one time.
He still got that in his back pocket. Poirier gives up a bunch of chips as Zowie zooms to almost 650,000. Welcome back to the Rio for day 4 of the main event. Patrick Poirier had a strong day 3, catapulting him into the chip lead. Throughout this tournament, though, he has never sat on his chips. He doubled his stack on day 1, quadrupled it on day 2, and then quintupled it on day 3. But he just took a big hit before the break at the secondary table, taking him off the leaderboard at under 900,000 chips.
The 25-year-old, a quiet, likable guy. It's hard not to root for Patrick Poirier. And it's hard not to root for my man from Arkansas, Sam Barnhart.
There is Barnhart, the 2011 World Series of Poker Circuit National Champion. So he's already won a World Series bracelet for that. Dark core with King 6 off into the muck. Now Sam Barnhart. Jack 5. No thank you. Zohair Kareem with Ace 6 off and a raise to 9,500.
If you have a weak will, you play a weak ace. I believe Sartre first said that.
Poirier with Ace Deuce on the button.
No.
Oh,
No.
He's thinking about it. Your guy makes the call.
If you have a weak will, you play a weak ace. Geez, and Sartre, I believe, lived in Tupper Lake, Poirier's hometown.
Oh, the small and big blind give it up. So heads up between 2 weak aces and 2 weak wills. All right, here's the flop. 7, 4, 6. Kareem catches a 6 and puts a firm grip on this one, but he checks.
Patrick's pretty young, but I think one day he could develop poker elbow. It's like tennis elbow. You have only so many betting motions in that arm.
No such thing as poker elbow. They're padded. 13,500 from Patrick and a call from Kareem.
Patrick's an underdog right now if you check those percentages.
Turn card, deuce of diamonds. Poirier pairs his deuce to keep his head above water. Kareem checks again.
Poker elbow is the most common poker injury line, and nobody talks about it.
Poirier bet 17,500.
I bet if you asked Patrick whether he was bluffing or value betting here on the turn, he wouldn't know.
Kareem check calls again.
See, Patrick used to bet with his left arm. Look at it now.
The river card now. And it's another deuce. Poirier gets there from less than 1% to the best hand. Kareem checked again.
Poker elbow or not, Poirier now knows he's got the goods.
Chips in hand. Bets 30,000. And a call from Kareem. And Poirier with the best of it.
Poker's a funny game. Poirier was 95% to win the previous hand against Zowie going to the river and lost. He was 95% to lose this hand against Kareem going to the river and won.
So runner deuces gives that lucky pot to the former cadet. His poker background just might surprise you.
From a little town in upstate New York called Tupper Lake. I started playing poker when I was really young. Not seriously, just kind of messing around. Me and a few friends, we used to I guess hustle down in the park when I was like 12 and 13 years old. Saying we had money in our pocket and that we'd play, and then we'd just rake in the money even though we never had money on us. So we'd play against people, and it was fun. So I started real young and then just kind of worked my way up. The main event bracelet seems so far out of reach. I mean, I have a ton of chips now, but anything can happen, especially with my style of play. It feels like it's right there, but it's still so far away. It does seem like a myth.
I love the way he handles himself at the table, but boy, I wish he'd write his name on his chip so he'd be able to track him down later.
He does move his chips around. Fried Mulders with ace queen off.
9.
He's an IT consultant.
A raise to 9,000. Stuart Tuvey has the Jack Link's beef jerky wild card hand, and there are your choices, Mr. Chad.
Give me some time.
Tuvey with a re-raise to 24,000.
I'm guessing Tuvey thinks Mulders raised light from the cutoff, so he's going to 3-bet it light on the button with D, 8-5 off.
Folded back to Mulders, and he makes the call.
If Mulders were thinking like me, he should have repopped him.
So heads up, a wild card hand against the ace-queen of Fried Mulders. Jack Trey 10 Rainbow. Mulders with a Broadway draw.
He's out of position, but I wish he would fire away.
Nope, he checks to the re-raiser.
By the way, if that shirt is property of San Francisco Giants baseball like it says, isn't it unwise to wear it on television where you might get caught?
All right, Tuvey with 32,000.
Still think Tuvey got no piece of that flop. He's just posturing, using position to try to take it down here.
Mulders with the draw. And he puts together 32,000 for the call.
Tuvey's got 8-5 offline. It's not a hunch, it's a fact.
Turn card is an ace, a pair of aces for Mulders now, and he checks once again.
I think Tuvey's got nothing, but I think he's going to try to scallywag it again. I mean, this fellow's wearing a stolen Giants t-shirt. Why would he try to steal the pot?
He's trying to become the latest to win a world championship in that jersey, by the way.
Thanks for the reminder.
55,000 is the bet from Tuvey.
Mulders got top pair, good kicker, still with a draw to the nut straight line. If he's thinking like me, I would make a gutsy check raise here and just end this charade.
With a pair of aces and the queen kicker
Be a
and
man.
the Broadway draw. Mulders.
Be a man.
Oh, no check raise, just a call.
I hate check calling out of position. It's not my style.
All right, here we go to the river. 7 of clubs. Action on Mulders, he checks it again.
Does Tuvey have anything left in his bag of hooey? If he just bought a bit of hooey at 7-Eleven, it's all gone now. But if he went to Costco, he's got a month's worth left.
All in.
Wow, that would put Mulders all in.
Well, now this is for Mulders' main event. I think Tuvey has 8-5 off, but he's fired a 4th barrel here, and if I'm wrong and Mulders calls, he'll be out of here.
Freed Mulders with a decision for his tournament life.
Pair of aces.
He lays it down. Tuvey had king deuce. You were close.
Right bluff, wrong pew. That's still a W for me, I think.
Well, it's a W for Tuvey. We know that with his king deuce. He does win the Jack Link's Beef Jerky wild card hand, and he rubs it in just a little bit, showing his deuce of hearts to the table. Tuvey moves up the pecking order at the secondary table. More to come from the 2011 main event. The river card is a four, and it's over. Jake Cody's dominating performance has earned him a bracelet, and he's become the youngest player ever to earn poker's triple crown. It was just a few weeks ago Jake Cody was on top of the poker world, now struggling to make the money here on day 4. Cody with pocket kings, that might help.
Cody now with a World Series bracelet, a European Poker Tour title, and a WPT title. He just turned 23.
They call that the triple crown. He's all in for his last 27,000.
5 big blinds left.
Pull it over to Matthew K, ace-8 of spades.
He's a 23-year-old Canadian with a lot of online success.
K makes the call to put Cody at risk. Andrew Gilmore in the big blind now. And he will give it up. So Cody with his kings trying to double up.
Looking for a small double up.
All right, here's the flop with Cody at risk. An ace for K, but another king for Cody. So a set of kings for Jake Cody, a pair of aces for K. Turn card, deuce of spades. Cody's still ahead. K with a flush draw now.
So K now can knock out Cody with any spade other than the king.
The river card is a spade, but it's the king giving Cody quads and a double up.
Boy, that was an exciting small double up.
That is true. Jake Cody still does not have a lot of chips, but he seems to have some residual run good left over from his bracelet win. Back to the secondary table where Patrick Poirier sits. He no longer is in the Millionaires Club here in the main event. Action begins on Stuart Tuvey in that giant shirt on the Jack Link's Beef Jerky hole cam. 10 deuce into the muck. Fold it around to Guillaume Darcourt, king 9 of diamonds.
Looks like he's going to interrupt his meal to play.
He does. He's going to make a raise to 13,000. 2 black aces for Alex Camberis.
When Black Friday hit, a lot of internet stars like Camberis started looking abroad to keep playing online, but Camberis figures this is a chance not to sit in front of a computer all day. He might go back to school.
He just calls with the aces, known as AJK Hoosier 1. Poirier with 9-8 of hearts on the button.
And that certainly piques Patrick's interest.
And he will come along with a call. Danny Toffel, 41-year-old amateur, lives just outside London with ace-jack.
He owns an online retail company.
In the small blind, he makes the call. Big blind, Freed Mulders, 10 deuce. That's into the muck.
When you slow play aces, you hate to see 2 callers behind you. And look, in this 4-way pot, pocket aces will only win 6 out of 10 times.
Here's the flop. 9-6-4. Swing and a miss for Toffel. He checks Darcourt, a pair of 9s with a good kicker.
When you stop eating to bet, you like your hand.
That is a tell. I know it. He bets 35,000. Now Camberis, pocket aces sitting pretty.
It's set up really nicely for him. Camberis wants to seize the moment for sure now.
And soundlessly raises all in for 89,500. Poirier now.
Patrick, don't get yourself into trouble here. Tupper Lake needs you. I need you. Fold it.
He's got top pair with an 8, and he folds. Toffel.
What's he thinking about? He's got
Just
nothing.
Getting TV time. He lays it down.
54-5.
Back to Darcourt now. And he does make the call for 54,500 more to put Camberis at risk.
Camberis gets exactly what he wanted, but Darcourt will try to bust the 25-year-old while snacking on some Kung Pao chicken.
All right, here we go to the turn. 7 of clubs, no help to Darcourt.
Remember, Poirier folded a 9, so that's 1 less out for Darcourt. Only a king or a 9 gives Darcourt the knockout.
The river card is the 10 of spades, and that means Camberis doubles his stack to more than 240,000.
Nice hand.
Cambaris, disappointed he doesn't have more live results yet, but they will come. He is very talented.
You're right about that, Norman. For Poirier, while he folded a would-be straight, seems like little is going right for the one-time chip leader. At an outer table on the left, Amanda Musumeci with pocket queens just called an all-in of AP Fahurat with ace-king off.
Blind versus blind.
Are you standing up and ready to go? Hope you are.
I'm a little scared, I'm not gonna lie.
Fahurat at risk, and the pocket queen still ahead after the flop.
You don't clap mid-hand. Jeez.
Come on, Gary.
And you don't hug the dealer. Pre-flop, post-flop, or anytime, anywhere.
Turn card. 10 of diamonds, no help to Fahurat.
Fahurat needs an ace or a king.
Ace on the river?
It hasn't been looked on.
Use my one time right now.
Do it.
Ready?
One time.
The river card, well, he wasted his one time. The pocket queens hold up for Musumeci. She delivers a knockout blow to AP Fahurat.
I love dealers, Lon, but they should be untouchable. I think in the NFL, if you make contact with the referee, it's an automatic ejection.
Well, Musumeci up to about 1 million chips now at that table. You see Amanda seated right next to Jamie Kerstetter at her table. That graphic shows the chip counts of 3 other women still alive in this main event. They're at the secondary table. Ace-king off for Sam Barnhart.
He graduated from the University of Central Arkansas, paid for his own tuition, says he lived on macaroni and cheese because it was 4 boxes for $1. Of course, I used to get him 5 for $1, Lon, because I was connected.
He told us never be too proud to fold a good hand or too scared to raise with a bad one. He does raise with a good hand here, 13,500 with ace-king over to Poirier. Patrick looks down at Jack 10 of hearts.
Looks like Patrick wants to play, and when he wants to play, he usually wants to raise.
And that's what he does, a re-raise.
31,000.
Some people can't live without bread and water. For Poirier, he can't live without the 3-bet.
He knows to make chips, you have to put your chips to work, and he's certainly an expert at that. Pull it over to Tuvey, and he lays it down. So now back to Barnhart.
Barnhart is aggressive himself.
He needs 17,500 more to make the call, and that's what he does.
It'll be 2 of my favorite people here. Heads up. I can't take sides.
The 2 top stacks here. Also, 4 ace-king. Barnhart flops top 2.
That's a good-looking flop for Sam Barnhart.
And he bets it 60,000 over 3/4 of the pot. Poirier with a Broadway draw.
This is not a good flop for Patrick. And these are not good thoughts going through his head right now, I believe.
He's got 60,000 out there to make the call. And he puts them in the middle.
Well, to be honest, I thought Patrick was going to raise.
He did not. Barnhart in command right now going to the turn. 9 of spades. Sam's advantage now 10-1.
All looks safe for Sam Barnhart.
Sam puts in 75,000, just over 1/3 of the pot.
Uh-oh.
Oh, boy. Poirier doesn't look like he's going anywhere.
Patrick might be launching Operation Tupper Lake Bluff.
And here comes the raise to 160,000.
Barnhart knows it's pretty unlikely Poirier has a set.
There's so few hands that Sam has to worry about with his aces and kings.
Barnhart makes the call here, sitting pretty with a $500,000 chip pot already.
Things still going downhill for Poirier. Another 9 on the river. Barnhart's hand is good. He checks.
Well, Operation Tupper Lake Bluff here has little choice. Bluff at it again or concede a big pot.
You heard him talk about his aggressive style and his swings, the massive swings of his chip stack. And here's a bet of 225.
Boy, if I'm Sam, I'm thinking, what can he have? He can't have me beat, can he?
Sam giving this plenty of thought.
225,000.
I call.
And makes the call and will drag a huge pot.
Well, hell, man. That's that, son. I can't get away from that.
Almost $1 million chip pot. Operation Tupper Lake Bluff turns into Operation Tupper Lake Blow-Up, and Patrick Poirier loses half his stack on that one.
What a costly line of play for the former chip leader. A terrific pot for Sam Barnhart. Earlier, Tuvey showed us how bluffs can go right. Poirier showed us how bluffs can go wrong.
That's it, son.
Welcome back to the 2011 World Series of Poker main event, which has provided some memorable Phil Hellmuthisms. Yes!
The first hand you ever won? Let me be excited one time. Jeez. They're going to make a mistake, double me up, and then I'm going to... kind of hot. I feel like I'm going to pick up kings or something. It's the sickest thing ever. That's what I love about poker. I pulled 16 hands in a row, and I still got called by 3 people. You got a lot of excuses for your bad play. I understand. I got lucky. I'm freaking nuts, man. I know how to fold, and I know how to call.
You know, Lon, even when I'm dead for about 50 years, I'm going to look back at these Phil Hellmuth moments as special.
Hellmuth with ace-8 off. And a raise from the hijack seat to 12,500.
Sure, Phil plays like a nit, and he's an online punching bag, but since the poker boom began, in the last 7 years, he's cashed 12 times in World Series events with at least 1,000 players. He's great at navigating huge fields. His last bracelet in 07 was in a field of 2,628.
Phil takes down the blinds and antes, and once again over 100,000 chips, but way off the chip average, way off the chip lead.
9 times he's cashed in fields larger than 2,000, Lon, including the main event in 08 and 09. So we sass him, but we also have to celebrate him.
10 eliminations from the money. Daryl Jace still numero uno.
And this year, Phil quieted some critics, Lon, with 3 second-place finishes, all in non-hold'em events. Of course, he still never has won a bracelet in a non-hold'em event.
I mentioned the 4.5 million chips in play on the secondary table. In contrast to that, this table with only 1.7 million chips in play. Hellmuth with pocket trays and a raise to 12,500. He had 20 big blinds to start the hand.
Hellmuth at the moment leading the World Series Player of the Year race.
Taking that lead with his runner-up finish of the Poker Players Championship. Ben Lamb in second place. Folded to Martin Decknafe in the small blind, king-queen off.
He's the Phil Hellmuth tormentor du jour.
In the 0-2 main event, he had the chip lead with 15 to go and wound up in 13th place. He re-raises the action to 32,500.
You can hear from the tone of the Brat's voice, he's already agitated.
Phil needs 20,000 to call. And he does call.
Phil should be agitated at himself. He just put 1/3 of his stack in pre-flop with pocket threes.
I guess he's waiting and hoping Martin misses the flop. Deuce, Jack, Queen. Martin does not miss the flop. He hits top pair. And you saw Martin reaching for chips. He has been antagonizing Phil all night long. There's 30,000, keeping the heat on.
I would think this is an easy one for Phil to get away from.
Nothing is easy when Phil Hellmuth is concerned.
How much?
30,000, Phil. What a contrast, Phil licking his lips anxiously and Martin totally at ease. The headphones are off. Hellmuth's doing some deep thinking.
Phil and everyone else just 10 eliminations from the money.
I'm all in. 38.5 more.
Phil re-raises all in, and a snap call from Decknafe with top pair.
That's a pretty easy call for Decknafe. It wasn't that much more. Phil usually protects his last chips like a mama bear with her baby cubs. I didn't expect them to go all in there.
So Decknafe has Phil Hellmuth squarely in his sights. Hellmuth looking for help, and help quickly.
Nice hand, Martin.
Poker Brat misstep.
I knew you didn't have what you were supposed to have when you re-raised me.
And he knew you didn't have what you're supposed to have when you raised all in.
4 of spades. Phil picked up a flush draw. That really helps his cause.
Hellmuth needs a 3 or a spade, or his 2011 main event is over.
The river card, the 9 of clubs, and another flush draw comes up empty for Hellmuth at this World Series, knocked out of the 2011 main event.
A great World Series ends on a sour note for 89 champ Phil Hellmuth.
Good game, man. Good game. Good game.
Phil gracious, saying his goodbyes,
Good game.
working his way to his vanquisher, Decknafe.
Thanks, Phil.
Nice hand, Martin.
Thank you.
Nice play.
Yeah.
So Phil Hellmuth knocked out short of the money here at the main event. A very uncharacteristic way for the Poker Brat to make his exit, but he had an incredible summer here at the World Series of Poker. 3 second-place finishes and the lead in the Player of the Year race. Right now, Phil Hellmuth is down with Tara Scott.
Phil, talk to me about the last hand. You said he didn't have what he was supposed to have there. What did you put him on?
Well, I mean, I know he's going to re-raise me weak. He's playing crazy, and when he re-raised me before the flop, I just thought threes were good. I knew I'd have to make a read like that for my life today. I knew I'd have to make a read when I had sixes with 2 overcards or threes with 2 overcards. I was wrong. I mean, he happened to have king, queen.
Well, unfortunately, we say goodbye to you in this tournament, but you've had an amazing 2011 World Series. Can you reflect for me on that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's... will let history be the judge of the World Series? I mean, 3 seconds, it hurts a lot. I mean, but I know on some levels that, you know, I did really phenomenally well. Yeah, I can't go around talking about I'm great at this or great at that. I can't do that anymore. History has to be a judge of that,
and Europe's going to be a big part of that, I think, this year, the World Series Europe, and we do look forward to seeing you there. So thanks so much for coming back and talking to us here. Thank you.
Phil Hellmuth played his heart out here in Las Vegas. We'll see him in France. Phil Hellmuth perhaps down there walking off the sting of elimination. Here is Greg Mueller with some thoughts on Phil's knockout.
Interesting hand, Phil's bust-out hand. 2 threes. Come on, Phil. This guy folds 10s to ace-king, queens to kings. He's so good at dodging bullets. He's a survivalist. 20 big blinds with 2 threes. He decides to small raise, gets popped for 1/3 of a stack, and calls. In his mind, he's thinking he's going to get pushed around. He needs to take a stand with a pair. I don't like the play. Fold the hand pre-flop. Look what happened. He was up against 2 big cards. The big cards connected, and Phil's out the door.
Well, the top 3 chip stacks do not have to worry about the money bubble, but many others do right now. We're down to 695 players, which means 2 more players need to be eliminated before the field makes the money. Over $19,000 is the first payout level. The winner in November gets over $8.7 million. Let's take a tour around the room. Vanessa Russo doubled her stack here on day 4.
She remains tough, and she doesn't get her chips in bad too often.
Joseph Chung is the only 2010 November Niner left, but he's got trouble on his left with overall chip leader Daryl Jace.
But if this is the future of America, they've got to dress better.
Ben Lamb is chipped up, but he's well off the pace of the leaders.
He's got that Chamber of Commerce clean-cut poster boy look, but he's tricky.
Daniel Negreanu is a top pro in trouble with just 59,000.
Daniel with less than 12 big blinds left.
All around the room, short stacks are hoping for a miracle double up or just to hang on and make the money. Playing 4 full days and going home with nothing but a bad beat story is a bitter pill to swallow. Back at the secondary table, Sam Barnhart with the 3rd biggest stack in the room. Doesn't have much to worry about as far as the bubble is concerned.
With his chips, he can get a lot of macaroni and cheese now.
He and Kareem sit this one out. Camberis with King Jack of diamonds.
He says he's become a better player since he became a poker teacher.
A raise to 11,000. Poirier with 7-6 on the button folds over to the big blind Fried Mulders with pocket 4s.
We saw Phil Hellmuth had 20 big blinds left when he played pocket 3s. Mulders here with 30 big blinds left with pocket 4s.
Looks like he'll play this hand. He calls for 6,000 more. Heads up against Camberis. Alex Camberis starting the hand with 253,000 chips, 5-5-9, no diamonds. Mulders with 2 pair now leads. He checks. Camberis trying to bring his online aggression and make it work here in the live arena. No pair, but bet 16,500.
Mulders in a better spot here than Hellmuth was. He's got more chips, and that flop more likely to miss Alex Camberis than the Hellmuth flop with Martin Deknaef.
2 of the 3 short stacks here at this table. Mulders makes the call.
Alex goes, okay, well, I've got nothing. Let me think.
Turn card. Tray of clubs. Mulders still good. And he checks again.
I don't like Mulders' check calling mentality as his stack dwindles. All right, let's see if Camberis has thought of a plan B.
Yeah, plan B is check. All right, river card. 9. Mulders just got counterfeited with 2 pair on the board. His pocket 4s are no good. Camberis' king gives him the best hand.
Well, I wish Mulders had bet the turn, but this could work.
Mulders does bet at 28,000 now.
I call.
And a call.
Just with king high.
And Camberis with guts will win that pot.
What a world-class call by Alex Camberis there. Figured Mulders would check call the river with an ace. He's only betting with the nuts or nothing, and it was unlikely Mulders had a monster there.
So some very important chips for Camberis on the bubble here. Into the field we go. Daniel Negreanu at risk, but ahead after flopping top pair with a queen. Andrea Vizzani needs help with his top pair and a 10.
Negreanu facing elimination, but he's got Vizzani in bad shape.
First time I've been all in the whole tournament. It's kind of scary. How about a queen?
Why not 10? Turn card now. Another 6. Negreanu still ahead.
6.
With an ace, king, or 6, they chop it.
You want to chop it? Good chop.
Only a 10 busts Negreanu.
I don't want to chop it.
No, my God. No chop. The jack ensures Negreanu wins it outright. And he gets a hug from his girlfriend, Christina Polgar.
She was Miss Earth Hungary 2008. I was Miss Earth Maryland 1979.
A third player put chips in pre-flop before folding, so Daniel more than doubles up to 161,000.
He's got 30 big blinds. That feels like 100 big blinds to Daniel right now.
At another outer table, Jake Cody is all in again, and with ace-queen has Jonathan Stamp dominated.
Stamp, a 39-year-old Illinois pro.
Here's the flop now. Deuce King 10. Cody with a Broadway draw, but Stamp takes the lead with a pair of 10s. Now Cody looking for a saving card. Turn card is the 5 of hearts. No help to Jake Cody.
Jake Cody's going to need an ace or a jack to avoid the bubble.
The river card is a jack, and Cody's not going home just yet. He rivers Broadway.
Cash and a haircut could be coming soon.
They might start calling him the English River Rat. The bubble hasn't burst yet, but it will soon. Who will be the odd player out?
Let's try again.
I bet he feels good. Feel good? Oh, yeah. How do you feel?
Go for boys.
Ukrainian Alexei Kovalchuk was only the second player from his country to win a bracelet when he took down the $2,500 no-limit hold'em six-handed event.
Very happy.
Poker commentators did well in the $1,500 stud high-low event as Mike Sexton finished second to Chris Viox.
That was pretty exhilarating.
You turn first, you low life on a stick.
And my announced partner Norman Chad spread his joy by finishing 12th in that event. Congratulations, Norman. I was wondering why hell froze over that day.
I have now cashed twice in 19 World Series events. That's about as good as my Jack Link's wild card hand record.
So we are now down to 694 players truly on the bubble. One to go before everyone else finishes in the money. Deck Nape with a raise to 13,000 with 10-9 of hearts.
For the record, Mike Sexton is not a low life on a stick. He's a poker Hall of Famer, a class act.
Mook thinking about the pocket 10s.
Next player out is our bubble boy.
The bubble is the elephant in the room right now. Mook made the call over to Mike DiGilio in the big blind from Port St. Lucie, Florida.
He's a 23-year-old pro.
With pocket trays, he calls for 8,000 more.
The first bubble boy, incidentally, was Alexander the Great at the Jack Binion Ancient Palestine Open in 331 BC.
Three players will see the flop. King 7-5, no set for the trays. DiGilio checks. Deck Nape missed. He checks. Mook ahead with the pocket 10s.
Bet, son.
And he checks.
Ah!
6 of hearts. DiGilio picks up a gut shot. And he checks.
Yeah, if you check that flop in position with pocket 10s, you ought to be playing Parcheesi, not poker.
Deck Nape with a better straight draw. Bets 16,000. Mook's pocket 10 still in the lead. And just makes the call. DiGilio folds his tray, so heads up to the river.
Deck Nape postures with such a calm demeanor.
Another king there on the river. See, Mook's 10s are the best hand. But Deck Nape has a stack of orange. He bets 110,000. That almost matches Mook's stack.
Deck Nape, the most even-keeled maniac you'll ever see.
Sure he did.
And actually, this isn't maniacal. Deck Nape has picked a perfect on-the-bubble spot to bluff.
I need more chips.
This is for virtually the rest of Mook's stack. How can he call here?
He doesn't, and a shrewd play by Deck Nape will take that pot with the money bubble haunting all the short stacks.
I would snap him off if it's not the bubble.
Do you know what it's like to be the bubble boy? It's worse than Mr. Irrelevant at the NFL draft.
So Deck Nape over 621,000 chips is the leader at this featured table. One player to go. One of those players out there will be our 2011 bubble boy. And we do have a player all in on the left. Reza Khashani flopped top pair with a straight draw and shoved. Insta-called by Joseph Chung, who flopped a set of queens. Turn card is an 8, no help to Khashani.
Khashani owns a flooring company in Southern California. I expect the bubble boy to have earbuds and shades. He needs a 10 right now, or he's our bubble boy.
The river card is another queen. Quads sends Khashani home. And the last remaining November 9er from last year, Joseph Chung, scores the most meaningful knockout so far of this year's main event.
Chung feels no shame doing the dirty deed.
And the bubble boy will be ushered to the front of the room.
November 9ers have no sympathy for the bubble people.
Soon, 693 players in the Amazon room will cheer a man they've never met.
Ladies and gentlemen, with 693 players remaining, you are all in the money! Now, all of you are guaranteed $19,359.
I just texted my 2 kids and my wife to win the money.
Well, Jake Cody did it. So did Daniel Negreanu.
Miss Earth hungry.
Survived 6,200 eliminations to make the money. The hard part is over. The hardest part begins now. Making a run to the November 9, $8.7 million in the main event bracelet. Welcome back to the Rio, where the money bubble has just burst. Kara Scott is with the 694th place finisher, Reza Khashani.
You seemed like a remarkably good sport considering you've just bubbled. Now, this is true, actually. Reza didn't quite understand that you get a free entry into next year, right? So you're coming back.
Perfect. I hope I'm going to be, good, better for next year. It's mean. I hope I'm going to be lucky.
We'll see you next year. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Call me Scrooge, but if you don't know you've won an entry to next year's main event, you shouldn't be able to play in next year's main event.
Joining the feature table, bracelet winner Todd Brunson, taking the seat of Jared Zito, one of the many short stacks who pushed all in and lost once the bubble broke. DeGilio with Queen Jack of spades. He's going to raise it up to 13,500.
And Phil Hellmuth is sitting somewhere grumbling, look at these bums who outlasted me.
Fold it around to Brunson. He lays down 4 trade. Deck Nafe now with pocket aces.
At the table, Deck Nafe looks like he's always about to solve an algebra problem.
A jacket was given to him by a friend from Brazil. It's autographed by the soccer great Ronaldo. Deck Nafe raises to 36,500. Sausas with pocket 8s makes the call.
Semi-Pro owns a security company.
Matthias Mook with pocket kings. And he shoves for his last 166,000.
Wow, Mook waking up with pocket kings at the absolute worst time.
Sinninger lays it down. Now Wayne Hines in the big blind. Folds. Action back to DeGilio. Is Queen Jack into the muck. Now how does Deck Nafe want to play it with Sausas behind him still?
Well, looks like he's not satisfied just to go heads up against Mook. He wants to find a way to keep Sausas around.
And you're right, Norman. Just a call here.
Looking for a heads-up side pot with Sausas.
Sausas still pocket 8s. And Charalampos gets rid of it. So aces versus kings. Mook in trouble and all in.
We saw Deck Nafe bluff Mook just before the bubble burst. Now he's holding the goods and about to bust Mook.
So Deck Nafe trying to claim a victim, trying to claim a lot more chips. Here's the flop. It is 6-5-4. Great flop for the aces.
And very little hope in that flop for Mook.
Mook looking for something on the turn to give him hope. And that trade does. There's a straight draw on the board that also gave Deck Nafe a flush draw.
Mook now can chop the pot with a non-heart deuce or 7. Only the king of spades gives him the whole pot. Otherwise, he's done.
The river card is a 7, but the 7 of hearts, and Deck Nafe flushes Mook out of the main event.
Tough way to go, but he's in the money, and the gift shop sells T-shirts.
So Matthias Mook, the latest victim of the 2011 main event. Martin Deck Nafe retakes the chip lead at this table with over 700,000. At an outer table, Jake Cody once again trying to survive his all-in. He's at risk with King 10 against the pocket jacks of Fabio Sosa pre-flop.
The youngest Triple Crown winner ever on the edge again.
We've seen Cody come through on the river in a couple of hands. He'll take it anywhere he can get it now. He's at risk. Flop 5-6-4. No help to Jake Cody.
The 25K heads-up bracelet winner in danger of leaving us.
Turn card now, another 5. Cody down to his last card again.
Jake Cody looking for a king and a king only, or he is gone.
The river card, the 10 of hearts, not to be. This time for Jake Cody. Sosa wins the hand. And Cody exits with his 3rd cash of this World Series of Poker.
Yeah, great World Series. Actually, he can use some new clothes, too.
And this bracelet winner says his goodbyes.
Come on.
Here on day 4, the poker brat was sliced by the knife. But another marquee name found a way to carry on.
First time I've been all in the whole tournament. It's kind of scary.
For the players who survived the bubble, a chance to celebrate with the knowledge that the real tournament is just beginning.
Yes, yes.
For Norman, Chad, and Kara Scott, I'm Lon McCarron. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.